Trae Young, fellas, or the Atlanta Hawks? How y'all feeling?
When you have a player like Trae Young, who's so responsible, kind of like Joker, who's so responsible for everything that you're doing offensively, when they go out of the lineup, we got to completely switch up what we're doing, right? So now Dyson Daniels isn't the distributor that Trae Young is. So with Dyson Daniels not being the distributor that Trae Young is, all right, how are we going to get everybody else involved? Now we got to feature Jalen Johnson in one-on-one more. All right, well, that might not be a good thing, only except it turned out to be a good thing for him, right? It wasn't to their detriment. So we got to play faster because our lead guard isn't the distributor. He isn't the bucket getter. So how is he going to get productive? How is he going to be productive? Well, we got to play faster. How we play faster, we get more buckets off of our defense, which is what I felt like Atlanta was doing. Well, now you get Trae Young back. Now we got to go back to what we were doing. It's not like Trae Young sees what we're doing and now he implements that into his game. He was never much of a defender, right? He wasn't always. He always was he always was a bucket getter, sure, but that was something that took them out of their offense. So now we're struggling with two different things here. We're struggling with a guy who is a high volume shooter. We're struggling with a guy who who throws us out of our offense. In addition to him throws us out of our offense, he doesn't defend, which is something that we were doing really good before he got in the lineup. Now we're going back to that. So we're at an impasse right now when it comes to Trae Young. And we got to make a decision on what we're doing with him.
First of all, I don't think they've been a good defense at all this year.
They've been better with Trae Young out the lineup. I can tell you that. They might not be.
Oh, that's for sure.
They might not be a great defense. They've been better with him out of the lineup, though.
Yeah, but he's not screwing up like some sort of top 10 defense. They're a middle of the pack defense without him. They're below middle with him.
Yep.
He's been kind of okay since he's come back. I think that's worth stating. Like he's shooting effectively. Mm-hmm. He's not bad. It's not like he's messing everything up. Everyone wants to blame him for everything, and I'm perfectly okay with that. But like part of it is he just doesn't fit. He's not a great off-ball player. You clearly want to put the ball in Jalen Johnson's hands, but Jalen Johnson's not a good defender. Nikhil is a good defender in theory, but he hasn't been great for them either. And Trae Young is awful, and he's going to get picked on a lot. Porzingis been out of the lineup. That hurts, So I fully understand the concept of trying to blow this up. I understand why people are salty with Trae because it's kind of seemed like, things were going well with him and without him, and now things are going horribly. Yep. But it's not like things were going great to begin with.
Penn, they were 15-12 without Trae, which is it's not anything crazy, but they were in the play-in. And
does your eye test tell you that he's the problem?
What tells me that he's the problem is when he comes back, they lose 7 straight games. What tells me is that he's the problem is when he comes back, the first 5 games he plays, they lose. What tells me that he's the problem is that it's like when we have a roster where Jalen Johnson's rolling, Nikhil Alexander steps into a bigger role and he fits in seamlessly. Had 30 against the Thunder last night.
Yep.
When I hear that type of stuff, it's just like, or when I see that, I'm like, maybe it's about that time.
Correlation is not always causation, though, right? Like, I'll give you an example.
Very true.
From a team that I cover.
Say that one more time, Penn, because I don't think people heard that. Correlation is not
causation.
Which means what? So people can understand that, because I don't think people understand what that means exactly.
I mean, I give the PC chat a lot of credit. I think people here understand it. But sure, like I think just because two things happen at the same time doesn't mean that they're causing each other, right?
That's not.
So a good example is the Toronto Raptors were a top 5 offense when RJ Barrett was playing, and then he didn't play for 15 games. And guess what happened to the offense? They became the worst offense in the NBA.
It goes the other way.
So when you go from top 5 to 30th, people are like, is RJ Barrett like an MVP candidate? Like, because you'd have to be an MVP. No, it's not causation, man. A lot of things had to go wrong at the same time. Players play different. Players step into different roles. You have to think about.
Ron, that offense didn't go from 5 to 30th because of RJ Barrett. No, it was a whole bunch of other things.
It got worse because of RJ Barrett. Maybe
it did, but it wasn't because it dropped to the bottom of the league because of RJ Barrett.
But that's the same thing with Trae Young. But that's the same thing with Trae Young. You could say Trae Young makes your defense worse. I agree with that.
Sure.
It's impossible for him to make a defense better, so obviously he's going to make it worse. But he also makes the offense better in theory, shouldn't he? He's an awesome offensive player. He's definitely one of the best 5 offensive guards in the league. Ron's not crazy to have him as one of his favorite players. He's one of the 5 best passers in the NBA. Shouldn't that help you? It should help you. But for whatever reason, it doesn't help you because somehow you lost 7 straight. And 2 of those games he didn't even play.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying, Open, in terms of style of play. That's where the fit comes in. So he's a guy who needs the basketball in his hands. Well, Dyson Daniels doesn't need the ball in his hands. Jalen Johnson doesn't need the ball in his hands as much, right? Jalen Johnson is one of the better transition players in the game. I thought that with Trae Young being able to pass the way he does and Trae Young being able to speed the game up and being a good transition guard, that Jalen Johnson would be really good with him, which he was. But I felt like he's better without him and without this group without them because they do so many different things collectively. Now, to your point, when you talk about Trae Young being off the floor as a defender, being on the floor as a defender, they are, I feel like they make up for a lot of his mishaps. And I think that they cover up for a lot of things that he does wrong. So I don't think it's in theory. I think that with him specifically, I just don't think. I think you made a good point. I don't think he fits with what's going on with this group.
Well,
he doesn't fit what's going on with any group.
What's the problem with him, Ox?
We're not doing that.
I ain't doing that.
We are doing that. You don't got to participate in it. But this is what I've been telling y'all for a long time about Trae Young.
What's been your biggest problem with him, Ox? Of all the things that he does, what's your biggest issue with him?
He's not a good basketball player.
No, see, that's not true, Ox, because yes, he is. Yes, he is. That's just not true. You can't substantiate that, Ox. That he's not, even though he's a bad shot taker, that does not mean, because we've seen plenty of bad shot takers in the league that are good basketball players. We've seen plenty of point guards in the league who are great distributors who turn the basketball over. That doesn't mean that they ain't good basketball players. Trae Young is an awesome basketball player. That's just not true.
Awesome?
Yeah, awesome. He's an awesome basketball player.
Ain't nothing awesome about Trae Young. He's one of those guys that has the skill set, but can't play basketball. I was talking to y'all about this yesterday. He is Trae Young is what basketball is today. He's has such a high skill set, can shoot from anywhere, can make whatever pass, but he just can't play basketball.
Okay, so what's the difference?
So Pat Bev was right. Is that what you're saying? Pat Bev was right.
Man, every Drench tried to tell y'all Pat Bev was right. I was saying that before Pat Bev even said it. I've been telling y'all this since Trae Young got. Well, I wasn't on here when Trae Young got drafted, but I've been saying this since Trae Young got drafted. He's just like he's a you know what he is? He's a midget shot chucker.
Okay, so with
little
that
people
being
shot
said,
chucker. Okay.
As a basketball player, like let's take the system out of the game, even though systems matter, right? We've seen great players operate in systems. What I want to stick with, Ox, is I want to stick with just being a basketball player. Roll the balls out, and let's just rock, right? Let's just do that. Let's roll the balls out and let's rock. Okay, Trae Young can create his own shot. Trae Young can find an open man. Trae Young can hit guys in tight windows like a quarterback. He can definitely do that. Trae Young, really good at the rim, throwing lobs. Not as good a defensive player.
Terrible defender. Terrible.
Please stop trying to
sugarcoat it. He's amongst the worst. He's amongst the worst.
Okay.
On top of that, the fact that he can create his own shot is a problem.
Why is that a problem?
That just amplifies the bad shot taking he does. Maybe if he
can create their own shot.
Okay, then they sorry too. Then they sorry too. Then they sorry.
You don't say that about Jalen Brunson, Ox.
Jalen Brunson's better than Trae Young.
Okay, Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson can put a team on his back. Trae Young cannot.
He 100% did that though, Ox. We saw him do that. We saw him take a team deep into the playoffs. Even though he wasn't a good bucket getter, but we have seen
broke
him
clock,
do that.
broke clock, bro. That's just broke clock. That's all that is.
We've seen him take teams to the playoffs.
If Trae Young couldn't create his own shot, he'd probably be a better basketball player.
Okay, well, if he couldn't create his own shot, what he would just be is he'd just be a guy passing the ball around. He'd be completely ineffective in today's game, Ox, because you need to get buckets as a lead guard.
He wouldn't be ineffective. That's the problem. That's the problem. If he wasn't as good at creating a little space and throwing up bullshit, he would probably be a better basketball player.
That's where coaching comes in, though, Ox, because that's where when as a shot creator, I gotta wane
he's already
you in.
A coach killer.
That's where I gotta wane you in, and with me. Nah, I'm not gonna disagree with that part. Me waning you in. Okay, that's not a good shot. Okay, that's a good shot. and then you being more consistent with that stuff. That's where
Chill,
coaching comes in.
You can't say that though, Chill, because Trae Young's in what year now? This is year 7.
I mean, year 8.
Yeah,
Year 8.
it's 8.
It's like
year 8.
yeah, like his habits are already set in stone.
Yes, they are.
Coaching
right.
or not, it is no coach that can come and whip Trae Young into shape. It's no coach that's going to be able to come over and say, Trae Young, stop shooting these shots. It's no coach that's going to tell Trae Young, hey, Trae, we need you to average 17 and 13. It's just at this point, Trae is who he is. And
See,
I mean,
I disagree with that. I do. And the reason why I disagree with that is because I know that I.
So why has it happened, Chill?
Because I don't think that Quinn Snyder. I feel like Quinn Snyder is a damn good coach, right? I feel like Quinn Snyder is a damn good coach, but I don't think that he's been able to reach what Trae Young needs to hear. Because I've seen coaches in the past, even with guys even with guys at this junction in their career. I don't know if you remember this, but Phil Jackson was the one who came in and switched up Shaq. He's the one who came in and switched up Jordan. Because before Phil Jackson, Jordan was, give me the ball, I'm just going. No, I'm going to switch that up, and it's got to be different. And it worked. He bought into it. Trae Young.
So, Chill, what do they need to do? Do they need to go get Tom Thibodeau? Do they need to send him to Miami? Like, do they need to buy out Eric Spoelstra? Like,
I do think
Phil Jackson's not around no more.
No, he isn't. But I that was just an example. But I do feel like that there needs to be some more discipline with him. And I think that he's been playing one way for so long. To your point, Ox, he's been playing one way for so long that this is the only way he knows how to play. Give me the ball. I'm the facilitator. I'm the bucket getter. Because don't forget, I led the country in scoring and assists when I was in college. So that's what I do. I'm the bucket getter and I'm the distributor. So with all of that being said, I'm used to being able to do that. So if we have a coach now that's telling him, yo, we need you to get off the peel more. We need you to be more of an efficient shot taker. Not a shot maker, but a shot taker, which would lead to being more of an efficient shot maker. We need a coach who can be able to do that. If you can't do that, then you shouldn't be here.
He can't do that, Chill, because his size, it makes it to where he has to take tough shots. He has to.
Why y'all talking to me like Jalen Brunson is 6'6"? Jalen Brunson is a small dude too.
Chris Paul stop bringing Jalen Brunson into this.
All of these dudes are small dudes.
Keep Chris Paul all the way out of this. Please don't do that.
The idea of a small guard, that's my issue. The idea of a small guard, that logic like bugs me out because we got a bunch of small guards in the league that get busy.
Look at the difference. They're not even the same person at all. Look at the difference. Look at the size difference of Trae Young and Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is more built. He's stronger. He's broader. He can do things Trae Young can't do. So you keep saying that just because they're both short, it's not the same thing. Jalen Brunson has much better footwork. Jalen Brunson is much stronger. He can get in there, bump people, get them off him. It's completely different basketball players. They're not the same at all. You can't just compare them just because they're both short. Jalen Brunson is way better than Trae Young.
He also tries on defense. He also tries on defense,
and he's not good, and he's still not good on defense either. So I'm not saying that,
but he'll make a play on the ball, like in transition. He'll get back. He'll try to be in the right position. He'll try to draw charges. Like I feel like when your best player just doesn't care about defense, your entire team is sort of cooked from an identity standpoint.
Is that true, though, Penn? Does he not care about defense, or I just can't do it? It's very much like with Joker. Very much. I think Joker cares about playing defense. I'm just not that great at it. That's all it is.
But I don't.
Chill, what is this? Why you keep making excuses for Trae Young? What is the NBA? The NBA is supposed to be a home for waywardly guards or something. You can't do it. You can't do it. Get your ass out the way.
I've been on record saying that I think Trae Young is one of the worst defenders in the game. What the hell is going on here? I've never argued against Trae Young being one of the worst, if not the worst defender in the game. I've never argued against that. Ever have I argued against that. So with that being said, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to say that he's not trying. Like, he just sucks. He's awful at defense. He's terrible. Awful at it.
I have a solution for this show.
After this, MTL, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay. So you know how like when you make a terrible movie, you could win a Razzie? Right? You make like the worst movie of the year, you win a Razzie. So yeah, so it's like it's the counter to the Oscars. So I believe that the NBA should introduce an all-cone team for the 5 worst defenders in the NBA. And basically, I feel like it would automatically make people not want to make that team. So people wouldn't be as sorry as Trae Young is. Look, I don't agree with Ox that he's a bad basketball player. I think he's a really good basketball player, man. I can't just outright just like I watch a point guard every day who can't make a simple entry pass, man. I know the value of a guard who can actually make plays like Trae Young can. I think he needs a better roster. I think he needs a more defensively oriented roster. And if you gave him like the Luka team that went to the finals, like he could probably take that team to like a conference finals. He's not as good as Luka. He's never going to be as good as Luka. Atlanta Hawks messed up on that trade. But yeah, like I'm just at a point right now where I'm ready for him to exit Atlanta because I feel like it's just gotten really toxic there with him. And maybe I'm hoping that he goes to a team which needs his skill set, has rim runners, has shooters, and has good defenders. And hopefully he just learns to buy in a little bit better. He's never going to be a good defender, but can you just stop being so awful? Like they have a 129 defensive rating with him on the court. 129. That's ridiculous. It's giving up 129 points per 100 possessions. I think a little bit of a small sample size. So even though he's doing his shit on offense, the defense is untenable. And you get into a late playoff series, I feel like because he made an Eastern Conference Finals, people kind of override the fact that he wasn't amazing during that playoff run.
That's long gone. We can't keep dwelling on that.
Yo, the very next year, he averaged 6 turnovers a game in the 5-game series that they lost. You know what I mean?
That was against Miami, right?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, shoot, 6 assists to 6 turnovers, a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. You must be one of the best passers.
That was a great defensive series from Miami, too. I remember watching Bam jump out on him. That was the difference between, because they ended up playing Cleveland to get in the play-in game, and Jared Allen and Mobley, they weren't there yet in terms of being those kind of defenders, and Bam was. And they were trying, they did a consistent job at mismatch hunting. They couldn't do that with Miami because Bam was that switchable defender. Bam could chase Trae Young, not just off screens, but he could chase him around. So, yeah, that kind of threw a monkey wrench in everything that they were doing. I remember that.
Pin a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. That's unacceptable in high school. That's some middle school shit. Like you can't get away with that in high school.
That's a fact,
bro. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable in house league. Like that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable on a playground. If you did that shit, like no one would ever pass you the basketball.
For every assist that I'm dishing out, I'm turning the ball over. Garbage. Get him off the floor. He killing us.
Crazy.
He killing us.
Yo, MTL.
Yeah.
MTL, what's your thoughts in Atlanta? I know you're not actually in Atlanta, but or in Georgia, but you close to the area enough to kind of check the temperature and know the temperature on Trae Young and the Hawks. How are you feeling about this?
I'm kind of on the side too that it might be that time. But I do see where you're coming from, Chill. I think there are a lot of small guards. I do think the problem is there's small guards that give more effort than Trae.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because there's other players that's literally shorter than him. There's a player I believe that plays on the Suns right now. What's his name? He might not be there anymore. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. He's very short, but I see him compete harder than Trae Young. Trae Young comes back from injuries, and I don't like to hold players to them high standards when they come back from injuries because you don't know how the injuries affecting them, and some players come back too soon. And I know a lot of people up here advocate for, well, if you're hurt, don't play. But it's kind of hard to tell a player that sometimes. I feel like Trae Young is probably still trying to work himself back into the groove of playing NBA basketball, and that's probably part of the reason why he's playing the way he's playing.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's as bad as he's playing right now, though. That's really more so a side I'm on. But I do think he probably should get traded. I think it's about that time.
I think it's the fit more than anything because Penn tells me that maybe he needs to get a better roster. This roster, to your point, Penn, in theory, before the season started, sounded like it was the perfect roster for him. Okay, Penn, Trae Young, distributor, great in transition. Okay, I got Jalen Johnson, great in transition. I got a Kongwu who's become bad. Okay, sure, bad defender. I'm just thinking. I'm just talking offensively to start. That's what I'm talking about. Offensively to start. So great in transition. Trae, great distributor, great player in transition. Great. Okay, offensively, I got a rim runner in a Kongwu. Great. I got a lob threat. Great, right? Kristaps Porzingis. I got a big who can stretch the defense. I haven't had that before, right? So in addition to having that, if I'm not mistaken, I think Boggs is still in the crew. So I got a guy who can stretch the defense. Trae Young can get downhill with the best of them, one of the better distributors. Now we're talking on defense. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, solid defender. Dyson Daniels, great defender. All of these guys who can cover up for what Trae Young doesn't have, right? All of these guys who can cover up for what Trae Young doesn't have, and the other things that he does have, they can enhance those things. He didn't have this in the past. So in theory and on paper, it looked like a great idea. It looked like a great idea, only except when he got out of the lineup and they started playing different. Well, maybe we don't need him as much. That's ultimately what ended up happening.
Chill. Since he came back, they scored 126 points in their game against Charlotte, but they lost because they gave up 123. The game he doesn't play, they scored 98 points against the Spurs, but they give up 126.
Sheesh.
They lost a game in which they scored 150 points because the other team scored 152. Okay. So the point here is not that it works on offense. Of course it works on offense. You have multiple skilled decision makers, shooters, good offensive players. The problem is you're so sorry defensively. And he is the sorriest of the sorry. So
if I'm not mistaken, Penn, I think last season they gave up 150 against 157 against, is it last year around or year before last against Memphis? They gave up 157, and that was like 157 or 155 or something like that. It was just one of those, whoever got the ball last is winning.
It's the panel. Religion get built on cam. With a check those smoke and the host go ham. You ain't never seen hoops out hit the raw. Every take got weight, every night we drop. This that barbershop. Courtside, worldwide tone. Welcome to the only show that really feel like numbers jumping like the score.